Hello everyone and welcome. It's Chef Jason Morse, your Ace Hardware Grill Expert, and welcome to today's edition of Ace This Recipe. We're hanging out here in beautiful, gorgeous Colorado, and we've got like the trifecta of awesomeness for you today on the Traeger grills. That's right, we're doing 3 recipes on one grill with the same pellet blend. This is gonna be super cool. We have a lot of great stuff. We're doing smoked pork tenderloin sliders on some King's Hawaiian buns. We have brined and smoked chicken legs, and then the best, I really think the best, we're doing Chef Jay's pimento cheese dip, but we're gonna take it to a little twist, and we're actually gonna warm it in the oven and kind of make it a pimento cheese bake. So a lot of cool stuff today. We have a lot of fun recipes. Thanks for hanging along and cooking with us. Be sure to head down to the comment section. Leave your comments. Tell us what you'd like to hear. What would you like to see? But be sure to click on the recipe right down below the video here. Click on that recipe, and that will bring up all the downloadable content we have for you. We have all of these recipes and more available for you to download and really click, print, and follow along as well. So I think without further ado, let's get this Traeger fired up. We've got some prep work to do, but we're gonna show you a fun recipe today, how to pretty much start off with smoking the pork and smoking the chicken, and then bringing that temperature up and adding the pimento cheese bake. So now when you're entertaining, you have more time in the house while 3 recipe items finish on the grill, and they are going to crescendo all into one beautiful feast at the end for you to entertain your friends and family as well. So we'll do our quick little food fly over here, and then we're gonna get rolling. So we've got some all natural fresh pork. We're gonna trim the silver skin off that. We're gonna add a little bit of rub to that. We're gonna start with a little bit of smoke and then move into the roast. We're gonna glaze it with our fire honey and a little bit of our happy ending as well, and then put it onto those beautiful King's Hawaiian buns. Next up, chicken legs. We're doing brine chicken legs. So we're gonna brine in our Italian brine. Those chicken legs will sit in there for about 6 hours. We're gonna start them off with smoke. On our Traeger chicken leg rack, we'll start them off with some smoke. We'll turn the heat up, let those start to roast off beautifully, and then we're gonna serve them with a little 50-50 barbecue dipping sauce that we finish with some blue cheese. And then to end it, we're doing pimento cheese dip. Right? The world's best pimento cheese dip. We're gonna have a blast with that. It's great on crackers, it's great on bread. You can put it on your pork sliders as well. We're gonna throw it in a little bit of cast iron, put it on the Traeger, and heat it up. So without any further ado, let's get rocking and rolling. Thanks for joining us. So we have a little bit of prep work to do to get these recipes ready, right? The first recipe we're gonna do is our brined chicken legs. So what I'm gonna do, following package instructions on the Italian brine, we're gonna use our Italian brine because I'm looking for a little bit more herbaceous, right? I want this to be herby. I wanna get some really good flavor in there and just kind of set myself up for a delicious end product. So we follow the package instructions. We'll get the brine all set and ready to go. And then I'm just taking one of my Rubbermaid containers here, and I'm gonna line these chicken legs up inside. What's nice about this is this allows me now to put this in the refrigerator, so I don't have to worry about a cooler space. I don't have to worry about icing this down. I can literally put the brine on here, pop this in the fridge for 6 hours, and we are set to go. So get these guys in here. And now that that's done, what we'll go ahead and do is we'll get our brine poured on top of here, nice and slow so we don't splash. And we want the legs to be submerged. That's our goal here, right? So we'll get that brine put in there. We'll get that stirred up really nice. And just like that, this is quick and simple, right? And then we'll get the cover put on there as well. And now we're gonna let these guys go for about 6 hours. Okay, so prep number 2, right? We're now doing the smoked pork tenderloin sliders. We just bought a nice all natural pork. It's free from solutions, free from injections. It's all natural, very clean label. And we like that because we wanna control the flavor from package to plate. That's what we're looking for. We don't wanna have a lot of sodium built up in here. We wanna add everything to it ourselves. But one of the first prep things we need to do here, right? This right little piece is called silver skin. Just a small little piece of connective tissue, and I'm gonna slide my thin bladed knife right under there. I'm actually carving up against the silver skin, and we're just gonna gently peel that off. Then we'll go through this tenderloin as well, maybe do a little trim on the back here just to get everything all even. But what we're trying to do is get an even, solid cooking piece of pork. These guys sometimes are a little bit slippery, so pay attention to that. We just don't want to leave that on there because when it cooks, it tends to shrivel up and it acts a little bit like a rubber band. So we'll peel that connective tissue off, that silver skin, and then we'll move on to our next one as well. Like I said, lay that knife flat, go right under the little bit of silver skin. I pull firm on it, hold it tight, and trim it off. Pretty simple and easy, but definitely makes a huge difference when it comes to eatability. Get this one off there as well. All right, just like so. Now, I will save these little nuggets here. That's part of what we call the head of the tenderloin. I will save those guys. We'll use those as well. But now, let's go ahead and put this into our pan. So we'll take a little bit of our oink rub on these guys. And again, you know, seasoning is really a personal preference. So season as light or as heavy as you want. But what I'm gonna do now, turn these guys over just a little bit. And then I'm gonna season the second side here as well. And I want this just to kind of have a chance to melt itself in there, let those sugar and spices and herbs and everything kind of activate. But there we go. We just have those lightly seasoned. Well, nothing like keeping the best for last. And I'll tell you, I love pimento cheese. I cannot get enough pimento cheese. I went to school in Charleston, South Carolina, and I remember the first time I was introduced to this beautiful, delicious everything, whether it's a spread, whether it's a condiment, whether it stands by itself. This quickly became a staple in my college years. Yeah, that's right. I wasn't a ramen during college kind of guy. I was a pimento cheese during college kind of guy. So we're going to start off here. We're going to add all of our cheese in here. And again, you've got that recipe to follow along, but we're going to add 24 ounces of cheese. We're going to add 8 ounces of softened cream cheese. And I look for a really good brand of cream cheese, whether you prefer Philly or whether you prefer Challenge. Pick your poison when it comes to cream cheese. I like it nice and creamy. Make sure we get that all taken out of the package and ready. So open this guy up. We'll add the cream cheese in there. I let mine soften on the counter for about 35 minutes ahead of time, just to make sure I got it nice and soft and easy to work with. You're going to see here in a minute, we're actually going to add a little bit of mayonnaise as well. So we'll add about a half a cup of mayonnaise. And I like to put that mayonnaise kind of all over the place here. Makes it a little bit easier. And then this guy right here, pimento. So we're going to add about 6 ounces of pimentos, and I leave them nice and whole. I don't chop them up. Reason being is we're going to mix it with this guy here. I think that will do enough chopping for everyone. We're going to add a little bit of fire honey, a tablespoon of our fire honey, just to kind of bring the sweetness up. We're not trying to make it too sweet because we already have sweetness out of the pimentos, but we're just trying to bump it up a little bit. We're going to add, to start off, we're going to add about a teaspoon of our rub-a-dub, and then we're going to add about 1.5 teaspoons of our oink seasoning as well. So look at that. That's super simple. Now we're going old school here. We're going to get this mixed up. Nice thing is it breaks up that cheese. It breaks up the cream cheese, breaks up that mayonnaise, gets everything mixed in here. And if you like yours a little bit creamier, go ahead and add a little more mayonnaise to it if you want. But okay, pimento cheese is all set and ready to go. I'm going to take just a light film of oil, and I'm going to coat my cast iron pan with just a teeny bit of oil. Not that it needs it, but I think it also helps just give you one layer more of protection when it comes to sticking. We'll go ahead and tap that out of there. And now we're going to take everything that's in this bowl, and we're going to scrape it out of here. And we are going into our cast iron. That's right. We told you you could do pimento cheese pretty much however you want, right? It's a great spread. It goes great on crackers. It goes good on pimento cheese sandwiches. But we're going to take this bad boy and pop it in the Traeger and do a nice little pimento cheese bake. So, yeah, imagine that. All right, the legs are done, right? They're out of the brine. Look at that. How beautiful is that? Now, we don't rinse them because we want that brine to stay there. We also like the way that this fat has really opened up on the surface. So we want to leave it alone. We want that fat to stay as it is, and we don't want to rinse off any of the brine. What we're going to do is pull these guys out into our pan here real quick. And now you have a choice. You can season them or not season them. You know what? Just straight out of the brine and onto the smoker is absolutely beautiful and tastes delicious, right? But let's go ahead and give these guys a little bump of seasoning with some of our rub-a-dub. So I'm going to sprinkle again, like I've always said, as much or as little as you like on there. And we'll toss these around just a little bit. And now we'll add a little bit more. And we're going to let these guys sit now for about 10 minutes with that rub, and then we'll come back and mix them up one more time before we get ready to hang them on the rack. We're gonna go ahead and get this Traeger filled up with our reserve blend pellets. What I like about these two, such a good pellet, oak, apple, and cherry flavor. They really do a fantastic job keeping a nice even smoke for us. We're gonna go ahead and turn this to 180 degrees today. That's gonna be our smoke setting, and we're gonna start off with our chicken legs on this beautiful chicken leg rack. So look at this here. This is the leg and chicken wing rack. One of my favorite gadgets, one of my favorite tools. The cool thing is you can hang your drummies on there, you can hang your legs on there. It's just a great way to really have that smoke come up and around and get that chicken covered and delicious. Now, you can see we've also got a couple probes loaded in here. So I have my iGrill, but I also have two probes. I'm gonna use the red one for my chicken legs, and I'm gonna use the yellow one for the pork tenderloin, but I wanna leave them set in here so that way when I shut the lid and we get that smoke building, everything is done now. It's time to get cooking. Okay, so we've got our reserve blend pellets loaded. We've got our chicken legs seasoned and brined. Now what I do is I make sure I turn it so that that leg joint is running this way versus vertically, right? I want it to be horizontal so it has a chance to hold into that rack really, really nice. Now, I'm gonna line all these up so I have the same size chicken legs throughout, because next we're gonna put our temperature probe in here. We'll put our iGrill probe in and make sure that we can now track these temps. So here's what we're gonna do next. These guys have about 45 minutes of smoke time ahead of them before we turn it up. So we're gonna let these guys go for a little bit, and then with about 25 minutes left, we're gonna go ahead and add the pork tenderloin, because what we're trying to do is time it so these plus the pork tenderloin smoke and start to roast at the same time, and then with a little bit of time left, we're gonna go ahead and put the pimento cheese in there. Now look I look for my biggest guy, right? I'm gonna look for that biggest leg, and I'm gonna put that probe right in there, and now we'll turn this sideways, and we will see you in about 20 minutes. Look at that. Those legs look gorgeous, right? And they've been on now for 25 minutes. So we're gonna go ahead and now add our pork tenderloin on here for really the second of our 3-part series here of these recipes. And look at how beautiful that link rub really worked its magic. You can see how it just melted in there, and it's beautiful. Now we're gonna add our other iGrill probe. So now we've got two probes tracking temps on the chicken legs and the pork tenderloin. We're gonna shut this and we're gonna go for another 20 or 25 minutes of smoke before we turn it up to temperature, to a high temperature, so that we can start roasting these off. All right, let's take a peek at these guys. We're talking now a total of 45 minutes that the chicken legs have been on, and 25 minutes that the pork has been on. And here's gonna be my my secret to you. We're gonna turn this on to high, right? We're gonna go up to 450 degrees. We want this temperature to get up to 400. So we just need a fun little dipping sauce, right? And I love this dipping sauce for the chicken legs because it's really simple. We're basically gonna do a 50-50 blend. So we'll add about 3/4 of a cup of our high altitude barbecue sauce, and we're gonna add 3/4 of a cup of low country. And this is what we kind of call our 50-50 sauce, if you will. So we'll get that added in there. Get that all mixed up nice and neat. And once we get it mixed up, what we're gonna do then is add our blue cheese crumbles to it. And we're gonna add about a 3/4 of a cup of blue cheese crumbles as well. And the great thing, the absolutely fantastic thing about this, when we pour this sauce over those chicken legs, that sauce will glaze beautifully, and that blue cheese will really do its thing. It'll melt a little bit. It is time. We have got about 25 minutes left. So we're at 400 degrees, right? Look at that. Those bad boys are getting a beautiful color on them. That pork's getting a beautiful color on it. And now it is time to add the pimento cheese for the pimento cheese bake. Now, we're gonna let that pimento cheese go for about 5 minutes or 10 minutes or so. And then it's time to start glazing those bad boys. And we're gonna alternate. We're gonna do one with a little bit of fire honey, and we'll do the other one with a little bit of our happy ending barbecue sauce. we are back. Let's take a gander. You can see everything is going along quite nicely. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of fire honey to this. And now what I'm going to do is brush that fire honey on. I'm getting ready to set up my glaze here. So I want to get that honey, when it turns liquid, kind of spread around really nice. And then once that honey starts to tighten up a little bit, right, it'll thicken up. Those sugars will come together. That liquid will dissolve and it'll thicken up or tighten up a little bit. Next, what we'll do is we'll hit it with a layer of our happy ending as well. But now check this out. You can see chicken legs, pork tenderloin, and pimento cheese bake. That's right, 3 recipes, 1 grill. That's beautiful. Look at that. That's exactly what we wanted. We wanted that honey to do exactly what it's doing. Thicken up just a little bit, start to make a glaze. Now, we're going to go with a little bit of our happy ending barbecue sauce. And like I've always said, you know I say, as much or as little as you want. I'm just going to brush this on and let it glaze. This is going to make a beautiful sandwich when we slice these guys up and get them onto the King's Hawaiian. So now that that's glazed, we're going to give these guys like 5 more minutes, probably another 5 more minutes to let everything set and finish. And then we'll meet you back at the table. Now we're going to plate all this up. So we're going to show you how to make all 3 recipes a feast for your friends and family. All right, so we pulled everything off the grill. Everything is ready to go. And the cool thing is we were able to have this kind of crescendo or finish all at once, which is great because, like I said, the beauty of having this ginormous grill is the ability to now cook my entire meal at the same time. So here we are. Look at this. This is our pimento cheese dip. Look at that. Serve it with some Dots pretzels. That is absolutely fantastic. Here's our pork tenderloin. Now that it's rested, we can go ahead and cut it into some nice, beautiful little medallions. We have some glazed pork on here. We finished it with our fire honey, and we finished it with a little bit of our happy ending barbecue sauce. But now, look at that. We've got beautiful, beautiful pork sliders as well. And then on this side, we now have all of our chicken legs. So what I like to do on these guys is kind of alternate them, right? Some from each side. And these are like, we call these pterodactyl wings too. That's the cool thing about it. These are just some big, fat, juicy chicken legs that do a really nice job satisfying everybody's huge game day appetite. We'll set this to the side, the chicken leg rack, and now here's what we'll do over the top. Look at this. We take that sauce and we just drizzle that 50-50 blue cheese sauce over the top, and that is perfect just like that. Now, if you have friends and everybody's looking for a little bit more dipping sauce, put the remnants in there, and you are set and ready to go with that. That is an absolute game day feast that is super easy to do. And the beauty of it, like I said, we're now able to do all the recipes on there, and we have all these recipes for you too. Down in the comment section down below, let us know what you'd like to see. What would you like us to teach you? What can we help you with? We want you to have all the tips, tricks, and tools ready to be that legend in the backyard cooking circuit as well. So, and while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe. Click on that little bell. Enter the email address for notifications. You will be notified when our next Ace This recipe is live and ready for you. And then these 3 recipes right here. We have all 3 of these recipes. Allison has a link for you, so just click on the title underneath the video. Click on the title. It'll open that, expand that up a little bit. All these recipes will be available for you to download there as well. So without wasting any more time, we got to get eating. I got an army to feed, and the beauty is all this came off my Traeger grill. So I'm Chef Jason Morse, your Ace Hardware Grill expert. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Ace This Recipe. Again, thanks to Highlands Ranch Ace Hardware for letting us hang out here today. Be sure to tune in next Thursday when our next video is live and ready for you. So happy cooking. Thanks for joining us.